In this video, we're going through all the necessary steps to clean a driveway. Before beginning, always take before pictures. These pictures can serve multiple purposes from marketing to liability protection. If you notice any property damage, you can let the homeowner know before beginning your work. Clear the driveway of objects and vehicles. Unless an object is too heavy, fragile, or fixed to be moved, you should never attempt to clean around it. The pictures you took before can also serve as a template for the placement of the furniture and such that you moved. Remember, unless you plan on returning to seal the driveway later, always return any objects you moved to their original location. On this driveway, we will be pre-treating it before we actually pressure wash it. Pre-treating is typically done with a sodium hypochlorite and soap solution. This is designed to help break up and kill any organic matter on the surface. Since the pre-treatment kills organic matter, we are going to wet the grass and vegetation around the driveway with water to help dilute any chemical overspray and reduce the risk of damage. This particular driveway has very light growth on it, so we'll be using a mix only slightly stronger than your typical house wash mix, which is usually around 1%. With driveways that have more severe growth, we can increase that up to 3 or 4%. When pre-treating any surface, you always want to work in small areas so that your solution does not dry out. If the solution dries out, it is not working, and in some cases can cause damage depending on the surface and the chemicals used, such as acids. If possible, you always want to position yourself in a way to spray away from the grass, vegetation, and surfaces that you do not intend on cleaning to minimize any overspray. You never want to use any more product than necessary. So you can always go light with your application at first, and then as you move forward, you can always look back in that area and see if it's starting to dry out. If so, just give it a quick mist. In most cases, you want your pre-treatment to dwell a minimum of 5 minutes. In cases with more severe growth, you may want to bump that dwell time up to 10 or 15 minutes. The key is to be able to keep it wet that whole time by misting with more solution or even just a mist of water. But only water enough to re-wet the surface slightly. Too much water will dilute your solution and decrease its effectiveness. Now that we have a section of the driveway pre-treated, we will begin surface cleaning. Something to always be aware of is your water runoff, or where gravity is going to take your water. In this case, the driveway has a slight slant to the right along the downhill slope, so the water will run down the driveway's edge on the right side, which is good in this case. If all our water were flowing straight down the driveway, we'd want to consider starting from the lowest point and working our way up. That way, the unclean areas remain dry and ready for pre-treatment as we finish each section. Hose management is very important if you're aiming for efficiency. A lot of times you will start from the furthest point back and clean your way back to your trailer or truck. Try to position your hoses off to the side or behind you as much as possible. If you're cleaning with hot water, do not lay your hoses on the homeowner's grass. This can kill the grass and leave a brown dead strip of grass where the hose ran. Every second you spend having to move your hose out of the way or lift your surface cleaner over it adds up and can cause a job to take much longer. Spending just a few minutes to manage your hoses before cleaning can make the job flow much better during your cleaning process. There's many sizes of surface cleaners. On this job, we have a 19-inch and a 24-inch surface cleaner. Since the driveway has fairly light growth and was pre-treated, we are going to use the 24-inch. In the case of more severe growth or dirt, a smaller surface cleaner would be best, as it would spin faster and provide more passes of the spray bar over the driveway. Start your surface cleaning where you started your pre-treatment and work towards your next section of untreated driveway. A good tip is to cut in or use your wand or surface cleaner to clean the edges of the driveway first, before beginning your main surface cleaning. This will help minimize the time you spend at the end of each surface cleaning pass when you turn around or move back in the opposing direction. Cleaning long back and forth passes and minimizing direction changes will help keep your cleaning consistent and efficient. A tip when working around doors or other places where water can leak into the house, like this garage door, is to tilt your surface cleaner slightly so that the water gets pushed away from the door. Note how we stop to use our ball valve to lightly rinse off the garage door. As you're cleaning a pre-treated driveway, some of that chemical will likely splash outward from underneath the surface cleaner. Though it may be very diluted at this point, it is always good practice to rinse away any sensitive surfaces like painted garage doors as you go. Always better to be safe than sorry. The next step after using your surface cleaner is rinsing. Just like surface cleaning, you'll want to begin rinsing where you started pre-treating. Your goal with rinsing is to wash all the loose dirt and grime into the next uncleaned section or end of the driveway. Part of rinsing is cutting in areas with your wand that your surface cleaner could not reach, such as corners, fences, or carport posts. You want every inch of reachable surface to be clean. In some cases, you will have overgrowth from the yard spilling into the driveway. This can cause dirty water to pool. If not dealt with properly, it will dry and leave those areas dirty. Sometimes you can edge the driveway, similar to landscape edging, by using high pressure from your wand to cut a small trench along the side of the driveway. This will allow water to flow and drain more effectively. Just like with pre-treating, we do not want the driveway to dry before you rinse it. This will cause the dirt to settle back in and will make it much harder to rinse. In some cases, you'll even have to go back and run the surface cleaner over it again. As you're rinsing, keep an eye on what's ahead of you and simply mist it to keep it wet until you reach it. This is why it's always best to divide and clean the driveway in sections. The final step is something we call ball valving. This is just a final look over for any missed spots or overspray on the house, plants, mailboxes, anything that could have gotten dirt on it during the rinse. Overspray is the unintentional scattering of dirt or chemicals on surfaces aside from what you were cleaning. We call it ball valving because instead of using the high pressure from your wand, you'll want to use the low pressure like you can achieve from just your ball valve. A tip with pooling water is using a strong leaf blower to push the water into the grass without the problem of adding more water with your ball valve. Always be sure to recheck garage doors, house doors, or furniture as well. You want to leave the homeowner's property cleaner in every way than it was when you arrived. And now let's recap. Upon your arrival, take before pictures and take note of any existing damage and furniture locations. Clear the driveway of any furniture or other objects, and remember to move anything that you moved back to its original location after you're done with the job. If you choose to pre-treat the driveway, always remember to dilute vegetation and sensitive surfaces such as painted doors and fences. Never let your chemicals dry out. Give them a quick mist with more chemical or water to keep them wet. Let your chemical dwell for at least 5 minutes. When it's time for surface cleaning, take note of your water runoff and practice good hose management. Make long passes and avoid direction changes as much as you can. And with rinsing, cut in, or clean any area the surface cleaner was not able to reach, like corners and around fences. Wash away all the dirt and soap to uncleaned areas. And finally, with ball valving, this is your opportunity for a final look over. Use low pressure to rinse away any overspray or debris left behind. This is also actually a good time to take after photos and double check for any forgotten equipment. Remember, always strive for thoroughness and efficiency, and to leave the homeowner's property looking better than it was when you arrived.